Yeah, this is to someone out there who have been facing the struggles. Someone who feel like giving up. Never give up. Sometimes I feel like just letting go. But I'm here to tell you that one day, just hold on a little bit longer. Yeah. Listen. I said the pressures of life, sometimes I can't take it no more. I hear still eyes and feel sore. Sometimes I don't know what to sleep. Sometimes you have to do it on the cold concrete, yeah. Sometimes I just feel forget to off another rain. But I say, one day I said it all will be over. One day I said it all will be over. One day I said it all will be over. Jah will take us over. One day I said it all will be over. One day I said it all will be over. One day I said it all will be over. Jah will take us over. Remember the days when me in the streets, hungry and me can't find a food to eat. Was just to find a pair of shoes to my feet. Can know me know that not sweet. So many days I felt suicide. Roaming up the side and so many trees I climb. But God never give a man more than him can bear. So when me cry out to him I despair. That one day all things will be over. 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 One day I said it all will be over. One day I said it all will be over. One day I said it all will be over. Jah will take us over. One day I said it all will be over. One day I said it all will be over. One day I said it all will be over. Jah will take us over. So no matter what you're going through, just keep on hold on and just keep the faith. Whatever you're going through is just for a time. Because it will all be over one day. One day just look for your lights at the end of the tunnel. Because God will take you through. So this is what I gotta tell you. Yeah. One day I said it all will be over. One day I said it all will be over. One day I said it all will be over. Jah will take us over. One day I said it all will be over. One day I said it all will be over. One day I said it all will be over. Jah will take us over. Just keep your head up. Stay focused. Press towards the mark. Yeah. God will take us over. One day I said it all will be over. Yeah. Over. 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 Will take me over. Just away.
Hello, my name is DLT, host of the Awesome Music Show, and we go one more time with this song from the top. Very, very somber song, listening to just about every word and how God used our brother who
Yeah. This
passed
is a
away
someone out there who
suddenly
have been facing the struggles.
with this song
Someone
that
who
one
feel
day it
like
would all
giving
be
up.
over. So
Never
many
give up.
things come to mind just listening to the song, but as always, it's another
Sometimes you
awesome
feel
day
like
given
just
to us by an
letting go.
awesome God to do some awesome things, and
But
we are
I'm here to tell
grateful
you
that
that
He has
just
allowed
one
us
day, just hold on a
to
little bit longer.
see
Yeah.
today, and today is a very, very blessed day.
I
So, as
say
we
the
go live
pressures of life sometimes
this
them can't take
Monday,
it no
we
more.
are grateful to God that He has allowed us to
While
see this
yesterday
wonderful
was
day.
them feel
So,
sore.
be blessed as we go through this
Sometimes I
time one
walk
more
the sleep.
time and
Sometimes
we
you have
just
to do it
share.
on the cold concrete,
We are
yeah.
just grateful
Sometimes I just
for
feel forget to
what
cough
He
another
has done
day.
for us. So stand by. We're going to be having a very, very special guest on the show today, and we are grateful that God has shared this platform with us so that we can use it to do so many different things to bring glory to His name. So we're grateful. So as we go live, we're going to be going live also on Instagram, and we're going to be sharing this broadcast. So please stand by for our very, very special guest. So to my Instagram family, thank you so much for joining. My name is DLT, host of the Awesome Music Show, and we are grateful that we are live one more time. I'll just drop the link in the description so that if you want to join us live on the YouTube page, then definitely we'll be there as well. So please, I'm the gifted. Thank you so much, bro, for joining. Blessings, blessings to you. Congrats on your album launch as well. Yeah, man, didn't see the highlights, so that's really good. Thank you so much.
That one day all things will be over. That one day all things
Bernice
will
Trend,
be
thank you so much for
over.
joining as well. Instagram family, blessings to you. So this is like a part 2 to the tribute that we did on Friday. Remember an exchange musical legacy, and we just want to share some information. So this coming Friday, the musical fraternity will be meeting at 2 Acacia Avenue to share in a musical tribute concert to the brother and friend who passed away. And we just want all the artists who are able to support to be a part of that wonderful, wonderful event. Even if you can't make it on stage, but please let your presence be felt to support the family, the mom, and just about every single person who are grieving the loss of this wonderful, wonderful brother. That will be on Friday, June 9. So please support that wonderful concert at the Jamaica Youth for Christ. Thank you so much. And also, we'll be sharing some additional information before the end of the show. But today is one of those shows that we are just grateful to God that He has allowed us to go live one more time. And we are blessed that this show is continuing to do what we are set out to do. So today is a blessed day, despite the different challenges, despite suffering loss of a family member, of a friend, whatever you're going through, God is still an awesome God, and we are grateful that He has allowed us to share the good news through these platforms. So wherever you're joining us from, thank you so much for joining us. Jamaica, Kingston, Manchester, USA, the UAE, wherever you're joining from, in Canada, wherever you're joining from. We are grateful to have you on this platform, and we're going to be hearing a very, very powerful story on this show. And this is just going to be part 1 of this story because we need a really full show to really showcase what God has done in the life of our next guest that's coming on this show. And we just want you to know that sometimes we have some situations that it seems as if God is not coming through for us, but definitely He's always an on time God. And whatever He does, even in the situation that we're talking about, the loss of our brother, God knows what He is doing. We may have questions, we may be wondering, we have all kinds of things that we're saying, but God knows exactly what He is doing. Thank you, Joan Prince B from GL365 Radio. Thank you so much for joining. And wherever you are, please, please accept our greetings from the Awesome Music Show family. Thank you so much for joining and for being a part of the Instagram platform. We are live on our YouTube channel. I just shared the link in the chat, so you can find it in our chat if you want to be live on our YouTube channel just to see your guests. As you all know from the Instagram platform, you're only going to be seeing me, but you will hear the guests. And if that's fine with you, totally fine with me as well. All right. So, my guests on the Awesome Music Show for this Monday, we usually have the Awesome Word of the Week, but today we are really doing the show in a different form, and we're just really using the time to just celebrate the life of our brother, Next Change. And trust me, his family needs our support. Please remember his family in your prayers, his mom, and just about every single person in his family that's mourning the loss, having so many different questions. But we know that God is able, and with your support, with your prayers, and just about every single thing that you can do, even just dropping a comment on a social media page, just to encourage a family, it's well worth it. So my guests will be on in just a few minutes as we continue to do what we do best on the Awesome Music Show. And we just want to just play one more song from the catalog while our guests rejoin us. And yes, I think she's back on, and we're going to be talking to her just in a minute. And we are just praying that God will just bring peace, comfort to the family at this time. And the guest I'm going to be bringing on is no stranger to the person that we're talking about, in the person of the late Next Change, Oral Reed, and we know him on stage as an exchange. So she is a member of the Marvelly Gospel Hall for over 28 years. She's also a community member of the Jamaica Youth for Christ Discover Jesus Mission. She's also a member of the drama team, part of the team Just Another Friday Part 2. And if any of you have ever heard of that movie, it's a movie that's done through the Jamaica Youth for Christ. An exchange was a part of that movie, and our guest is also a part of that movie as well. Just Another Friday, part 2. So we are just grateful to have her on the show. And I speak of no other person than my very good friend, Bernice Danvers. Thank you so much, Bernice, for joining us on the show. How are you doing today?
I am great. Thanks, Dale, for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes. Yeah, man, it's a pleasure having you on. And when I was just thinking, before we started the show, life is so funny, and I use the word not lightly, but life sometimes can be so amazing, if I use a better word. And in December, I saw a brother and friend exchange, and he exchanged numbers, your number with me, and we began talking. And God would so have it that he passed away. And it's just one of those things that you think in your head, God just knows what he's doing. And I mean, we have been talking ever since, and you have shared a little piece of your miraculous story with me. And I said, no, we have to have you on the show. And today is one of those days that we're going to have you on. This is going to be part one of your story, because your story is a very
Okay.
powerful one. But because of the nature of the show today, we're just going to be hearing bits and pieces of it. But we know that God is good. And even in these trying times, we can have positive stories, that we can use to uplift the viewership and uplift ourselves through this show. So thank you so much for joining us. And it's a pleasure having you on. So tell us a little bit about, first of all, about your association with Next Change, because we know you go way back. Marvel Gospel Hall is one of those um, main churches in Kingston that most people would know about. So tell us a little bit about your association with him, and how it has been for you so far.
Okay. Thanks for having me again. And good morning, good day, good night, whatever time it is in your country.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Yes.
Well, Marvelly, as you have said before, I've been there over 28 years. And next change, I call him Denny. Most
Mm.
family and friends call him Denny. Next
Yes.
change, as we know, is his stage name. And so he is part of the youth group. My daughter also and son attend the church, and he he and his brother and the rest of the young people and my daughter, they're all together. So because they consider me as the mom who is cool and with the young people and just do whatever the young people do. I make them laugh and everything. So I'm always with the young people, and just they come to my house, they cook, they eat. I'm just that cool type of person. So
Yeah.
next thing is no different. He's with them, so I know them. I know all of them, and I knew him from the very beginning. Young man, church was very quiet. See, I knew his brother even before him, but I met
Mm.
him afterwards, and he's very quiet. And he's always from the beginning dropping a tune here and there, and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, because if anybody knows me, they know I love music. So once you
Mm.
drop a Jamaican gospel tune, I'm gonna rock to it.
You're
So
there.
when we started, I was there. Excuse me, my throat. I'm a bit hoarse.
That's
You know,
fine.
I I wanted to support him. I supported him from the beginning, and then when he did his first song, what do you call it? EP, the first one. Yeah. Obviously he's gonna launch it at his church at Marvelly,
Hmm.
and so I was there, and we set up
Yes.
everything. And not only that, we also at Marvelly have what we call the mission team, and we support other churches because our ministries go
Hmm.
wide and far, and so we support other churches. And we always want a singer, gospel artist to go with us. And Next Change, you just say Next Change. We're
He's
going to Cana, is one of our sister church. Will you come? You don't even have to ask me if you'll come. He said, listen, man, just tell me the date, and I am
yeah.
there. And so it's always
Yeah.
anything we have, our own mission at Marvelly is there. He just said, Auntie, he calls me Auntie. He said, Auntie, listen, man, as long as I have bus fare and things, I am there. So he
Mm.
always wants to minister through his song. And,
Yes.
I was happy to see that he chose that route because he could have gone any other way, but he chose that. So I'm always associated with him through his music in ministry or even, his production.
Hmm. Hmm. That's really good because I mean, to be associated with someone like this and you can know the level of commitment he has to the ministry is really good. Because nowadays you find people they are committed if money is attached, they are committed if
Mm,
gifts are attached, they are committed if some real perks are coming. But when you find somebody who just do what they do just because they love it, they love to serve, they love to be of service to the community, then it's really something that you can really look up to because I've had those kind of experiences with him. I talked on the show Friday. I mean, even going back to my alma mater, when I went to pick him up, he was not even ready. He came in the car barefooted with his shoes in his hand. I said, just drive, man. We're ready.
that is
And it
next
was good.
thing.
I mean, just looking back at the video on YouTube, with us singing the same song, Better Days, really, it's really a sad moment, but as we always say, God knows best. And we are just using that time just to celebrate his life and work. All those who have just joined on the platform, Nairobi 4399, Casey and Nemard, Annie Thompson, thank you so much for joining on the Instagram platform. We're talking to our special guest, Bernice Danvers, a very good friend of Next Change and, like a mother. And we're just chit-chatting a little bit on the show. This is just part one of her testimony because she has a very powerful testimony, one that you don't hear very often. We hear people talk about some various things in their lives, but to hear of this kind of testimony is something really worth hearing. So during our conversations, you highlighted that you went through a very traumatic experience, and I picked up on just your conversation a little bit, and God will just have me to dig a little bit deeper. And you shared something with me that I believe the world needs to hear because so many times God does things for us and we hide it. We are so quiet, we are so hushed with it and everything. But tell us a little bit about your story. We went through a really rough period between 2019 December to late last year, 2022. Many people passed away, many people were infected, many people went through some really difficult times. But you can tell us now, live on this show, about your story going through the pandemic. Tell us your story.
Okay, and we'll just before I get to that, just to say one thing about next thing. I
Yes.
remember when we were doing the movie, just another Friday too. Even though you're an actor actress, we also work. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember I was like what they call the copper girl. Scene
Mm-hmm.
one, act two, scene one. Next
Yeah.
change was cameraman, and I was tasked to take him home every night. And I'm telling you, after we finish like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, I drive
Mm.
him home. Then we're chatting for another hour, 2 hours. He would say,
Yeah.
Auntie, if you're alone driving back to Portmore, man, you gotta get going. So I'm telling you, he's so committed in everything that he does. He
Yes.
not just my church, but as I said, the Jamaica Youth for Christ. He was in every aspect of Jamaica Youth for Christ, everywhere they want to go. So that's a little more about next thing. For
Mm-hmm.
me now, I came to the United States in 2019 September,
Mm-hmm.
and by December 31, I had a stroke, and it's not just a stroke; it was multiple strokes on both sides of my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Now the doctors can't understand what happened because a person with that type of stroke is either you're dead or you're a vegetable. If you know what they call a vegetable, a person
Yes.
who has
Yes.
no use to themselves.
No views, right? Mm-hmm.
So, right. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know I had the stroke. I just know like 3 days, 3 times before I fell. I was walking and I fell, but I thought I just slipped off the sidewalk by not looking where I
Mm-hmm.
was going. I didn't know I had a stroke. There was one time I was in my room and I just bent over and I just toppled over,
Wow.
thought that I lost my balance. Another time I fell off the bed, but I was like, oh, I was too close to the edge of the bed. I had an
Mm-hmm.
excuse for everything. But when December 31, you know, I wasn't feeling so well. I was having some cough and everything, and I went to a family member and I tell them that I need some medication because I have to go back to work, soon after the holiday. And they said, I needed to come. So when I went to her house, she said, "But why you walking a little um like I'm toppling over?" I don't know. Then she said, "No, you're taking me to the doctor, to the hospital." And they took me forcibly because I didn't want to go to the hospital just coming into this country as a visitor at the time. And so when they took me to the hospital, my blood pressure was sky high, my blood sugar was sky high, and they sent me to do CT, and the CT showed there was a mass on my brain. Then they sent me to the hospital to get an MRI done, and the MRI showed that I had multiple strokes on both sides of my brain. Now I am talking
Mm-hmm.
to them like I'm talking to you. So when they say stroke, I'm like, no,
What you
because
talking
I'm just
about?
coming to you. And I had to go look after a friend of mine who was in hospital. The only person he would respond to would me. He had a stroke and he couldn't speak. His mouth was lean, everything. So when they said stroke, I know what stroke looked like. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking to everybody, clear brain, clear mind, everything, no loss of speech. And they're looking at me, and I'm like, why are they looking at me so weird? So when the doctor look on the report, the doctor look back at me, and they're like, "Are you Bernice Danvers?" I'm like, "Yes." Then he look back at
Yeah.
the report again, and he's like, "So here he asked me, what is the name of the president of the United States?" No, I was really annoyed because why you asking me those questions? What does that have to do with anything? But I soon realized that it had to do with them checking to see if my brain was functioning or
Mm-hmm.
when I'm speaking, if my mouth was lead. But God was so good, cut a long story short, I got out of the hospital 8 days later because they couldn't find out what caused the stroke. They went
Yeah.
inside my heart through sonar and they still didn't find anything. But the strange part about that was 1 month. That was December 31, by the way, in 2019, 3 months after I got here. But 1 month before that, a prophet told me that I would have a stroke. He saw a stroke and that but the Lord would have mercy on me. So
Mm-hmm.
it was when I was in the hospital on the fifth day, I remembered that He had told me that I would have a stroke, and the Lord certainly did have mercy on me.
Yes.
After that, that was 2019 into 2020. There was COVID. So I was locked away for because I had pre-existing conditions. So I was locked away through the COVID, and then you know, even throughout that, then comes 2021. I started back to work, and because the country had lockdown from COVID,
Yes.
so
Severe.
2021 I started working, and by 3 months into the job, started March, end of March, and by August 1, I was back in hospital for some diabetic related conditions. However, it was, um, as they said, my toe, I had a cut on my toe, and that was infected. So they amputated my toe. And
Mm-hmm.
not just that they amputated my toe, that would have been okay. I would have been out the hospital in 1 week, 2 weeks the most. But
Mm-hmm.
something was given to me, and that started affecting my kidney. And so my kidneys got worse, and I lost. I end up losing. I went to stage 4 kidney failure because they couldn't give me no medication. They couldn't give me anything. So my kidneys basically, I was about to go on dialysis because of something that I got. And just God is just good because He just have people just praying for me from country that I didn't even know. I know so much
No.
people, but
Yes.
they're praying for me all over the world, and God reversed it. Just as I'm going on dialysis, God reversed it from stage 4, and the figures started going down, and my
Oh.
kidneys were totally reversed and totally healed. 1 week after I came out of the hospital on August 22nd, I had to rush back to another hospital the next Friday on August 28th because
Mm-hmm.
apparently I picked up COVID in that hospital, and this was where my life now just went to start going down. So
Yeah.
after they rushed me to the hospital, I left at the home at 94. My oxygen level was at 94, and 15 minutes drive to the hospital, my oxygen was 72.
Mm.
So immediately they had to rush me in and put me on the machine, and that went worse.
Yes.
My lungs failed, and during that time, all this is what they're telling me, that you're not gonna believe that I died. So all of us that were in the ICU, we all died, literally died. So you hear
Mm-hmm.
of Lazarus in the Bible that died. Consider me a modern day Lazarus. I died.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Yes. What happened is that, and God was just so in the midst of it. I didn't even understand it till when I come back, because normally on a Sunday they called my sister-in-law, who was my medical proxy, and she doesn't wake up early on a Sunday. And at 5 minutes to 6 or after 5, they called to say that I was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And she woke up. And I tell you that she don't wake up early. She was able
Mm-hmm.
to wake up. God woke her up because He had a plan. He had a
Yes.
plan, and He had just orchestrated all of this before. And she woke up, and then she cried, and she asked them not to not to take me off the machine.
The machine.
Because normally when they just pull you off the plug. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
COVID time, and you just hand you over to your relatives.
Relatives.
And
Yeah.
so she asked them to give the family some time, and then they kept me because she used to work at the hospital for over 30 years. So, whatever it is, there was at least a little, at least that. And
Leniency.
so they kept me on the machine for a little while, and then some weeks later, the Lord woke me up, and I was the only one that the Lord brought back to life. So I
From that
literally died.
to you. Yeah. Yeah.
The Lord brought me back to life. When I woke up, though, I knew nothing. My brain was twisted around. I didn't know where I was. The only part of my body that could move were my eyes, but I lost memory sometimes, and I couldn't move my hands, fingers, no part of my body could move. I was
Wow.
considered a total care. Yeah, a total care. And it's weak, even breathing, because remember, I would have been on the machine breathing. and so I couldn't breathe on my own. So
Mhm.
I had to learn like every single thing I had to learn. I had to learn to breathe. I had to learn to speak. I couldn't speak. I had to learn to move my head. Everything. I had to learn like a newborn baby, all
Oh,
over. No part of my body could move. So God, whatever He was, when my brain came back and I understood where I was, I just wanted to die. I literally wanted to die because when I saw myself
time.
can't move, do anything, I wanted to die. Didn't even know that I had died already. I
Already,
was
yeah.
like, Lord, why did you take my life? Why don't you just take my life? I don't want to live like this. I do not want to live like this. Just kill me. Just let me die. I
Hmm.
couldn't even speak, so I had to be speaking in my mind to the Lord because I couldn't speak. But you know, the Lord has a sense of humor though, because
Hmm.
I started getting agitated on the machine, the oxygen, and as soon as you get out of rhythm on the oxygen, it stops. So you have to breathe, just like how they teach you. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, if I get agitated, then it stops. So it means
Stops.
that I'm not getting the oxygen, I can't breathe. So I have to literally calm myself down for the oxygen to flow through my body. So I tell you, God has a sense of humor. So I
Yeah,
had to
yeah.
learn the rhythm of oxygen, move the sound of it. I could hear the sound. I have to learn the rhythm and breathe accordingly. And as time go by, they teach you how to breathe. They teach you when I was able to get off it. And not only that, I had some surgeries. If you can see, I have like a here. They went in 7 times. I had 7 surgeries because I had what they thought it was cancer, and thank God, whether or not it was cancerous, it's not. And then they found out that maybe the tube erupted or caused some eruption. So I have a
Yeah.
long-term effect of the COVID from that. And so they went in 7 times trying to get it settled. Up until this day, it's still not settled, but I'm breathing. As you can
Mm.
see, I'm breathing on my own. I'm
Right.
speaking to you
For that,
without a
that word.
machine.
Yeah.
I could not hold, I could not speak one word before and don't breathe.
The word.
And
Right.
now, I'm to you. So it's just God. And, you know, Dale, I say this to you that as I'm learning more and I'm learning more, like, Lord, why you chose me to bring me back to life?
Hmm.
Look at all the other people that were there. You didn't bring them back to life, but he knows when to tell you something and how you would react. Because the truth is that I remember in 2016, I told him that I was ready. He said he asked me in a vision, "Who shall I send?" And I said, "Lord, send me." And next part I'll have to tell you about that vision, but he took me through it, and
Hmm.
I totally forgot all about that. But from 2016, from I said, "Lord, send me." It's like sickness after sickness after sickness after sickness. And I call myself that I'm going through David moment. David in the Bible, he
Yes.
was told that he's king. He's running for his life. From
Yeah.
I said, "Yes, Lord," I've been sickness upon sickness. But God has a purpose and a special plan that He has for me. And I know that it must be fulfilled. And I can say that's one of the purpose that He brought me back to life. Because you don't just raise somebody from the dead just like that. God has a purpose and a specific one and something for me to do. And as I said, as I was in the hospital, you reminded me, will you still say yes? It is so emotional every time I hear the song, "Yes, Lord, I say yes to your will and
Hmm.
to your way." When I was in the hospital, if at 2016, when I had said, "Yes, Lord," if I knew that I was going to go through this, I would
You
not say
know.
yes. I'm being honest. I'm being honest here. I'm being honest.
Right.
I would
Yeah.
not say yes if I knew this is what I was going to go through. But, as the Lord showed me, if the children of Israel knew that had to go through that sea, they would have stayed in Egypt. They would not have witnessed that miracle of going through on dry land through the Red Sea. They would not if they knew. So the Lord didn't tell them exactly which route He was going to take them. He didn't tell me I was going to go through this. Because if I knew, I would say yes. No, my life was quite fine without all of this. But
Yes.
I'm learning to appreciate that you're chosen, and when you're chosen, you have to stick to Proverbs 5, 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not
Yes.
on your own understanding. And I literally have to believe in that verse every day because I don't know. I don't know what it is, what's next, what He wants me to do. But He reminded me, will you still say yes? And I said, God, my life really belongs to you anyway. Every
Hmm.
breath that I take belongs to the Lord because He's the one that gives it back to me, not the
Yeah.
devil.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at in my own life right now in terms of just saying, yes, Lord, whatever it
Hmm.
is what else, how worse can it be? If I've gone through death, what else is there? I've
Yes.
been to the worst, you know,
Yes.
and
Into the
even
world.
in death, because as I said, I have to go through the next session with you to tell you while I was dead, what the Lord brought the visions that He gave me while I was
Right.
there and take me through, you know. But this basically, what I've been through, Dale, and
Hmm.
people always say, "Oh, God raised Lazarus from the dead." For me, it's a blessing to know that He would have chosen me to raise me from the dead.
Yes.
And for those of you watching and everybody, it's a blessing to see somebody live, literal, that God raised from the dead, not just Lazarus that you hear of in the Bible, but
Hmm.
you're looking at
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
that God raised from the dead. That's a blessing. So no matter how much I want to feel down, He just take me back there all the time. That
Yes.
remember, I brought you back. I will give up life for you. That's what His word said. Yeah.
Wow, wow, so powerful. I've always seen these stories on YouTube and Facebook, especially in those African countries. And sometimes I always wonder, even as a believer, sometimes I wonder if these things are real. And, it's really good to talk to somebody live in this way. And I can say, yes, this is a living testimony. I don't have to be wondering or doubting if this is real because I can hear it coming from you live on the Awesome Music Show. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And I just want you to just use this time to just encourage somebody, especially the family of Next Change, because I know, I mean, a lot of times people may say in their minds, why didn't God do this for this one? And why didn't do, and even you ask the question, of all the persons in the ICU, God, why did you choose to bring me back? I want you just to use the last few minutes before you go, just to encourage the family and any other family that's going through a time of stress, a time of loss, a time of grief, because they all need this kind of encouragement. So just use a few minutes and just encourage, because know that God has done this for you. The world needs to hear, and this has to be one of your biggest testimonies. I mean, how worse can it be than death and coming back to life? So God has been really good to you. So just encourage the platform and those who are watching.
Okay. I'll first start with mommy, exchange mommy, Dennis mommy. My condolences to you and the rest of the family. Um, it's hard in this time of bereavement. I know it is hard, and
Mhm.
I can't tell you that it's not hard. You can cry and cry and cry. Of course, you have feelings, you know,
Yes.
cry. Jesus cried. So, but at least you one thing you're assured of that we don't mourn like the heathens do. We
Okay.
mourn, we
Yes.
cry because we miss the person, but we know for sure that he's resting in the arms of Jesus, and we're
Mhm.
sure that we're going to meet him one day.
Yes.
So that's one of the encouragement for you, mommy, and his brother, Kevin, and his sister. Just rest assured. Next change will tell you that I is gone, but make sure that he will see you in eternity, and that's most important. So
Yeah.
yes, we mourn and everything, but make sure he will meet you in eternity with Jesus. And God calls each of us for a purpose,
Hmm.
and whatever the purpose is, it will be fulfilled. Next change life has fulfilled so many purposes. He has witnessed to so many people, and I've been on school trips with him, We go to different schools back in Jamaica, and we witness even to the students. And I can tell you that his life stands out. So his life is not a waste. If we say it young, because we all look for three score and ten. But when God has a specific purpose and you fulfill it, He's ready for you. And next change will always tell you, no matter how you feel it, He said, I'm okay. And He knows that He's okay. So yes,
Yeah.
we miss him, but let us make sure we meet him. For the rest of persons, just to let you know that you may be going through a tough time, you're in bereavement or a family, member that you lose, your mother, your father, sister, brother. Listen, we're sorry that that has happened, and we don't know what's next. We don't know what is happening next week or the next year or 2 years time. God alone knows. And the
Yes.
only thing that we can is trust him. We don't have a choice. We don't have a choice. We can just trust him. And we just have to say, God, you know everything. You know our life from before we were born. You know our days. You have marked our days before we were formed in our mother's womb. And if we know that God is a good God and God is a trusting God, then no matter how we feel, we have to live by faith and knowing the facts about God. So yes, we have the feeling, the fact, faith, and feeling. So we have the feeling because we have lost a loved one, but we know the fact that God is a true God. God cannot lie. God knows everything before you're born until the day He takes you home. So because we know that, we have to live on that and trust Him and make sure that our life in the dash, we say we're born from X day to Y date, and there's a dash in between. Make sure that our dash speaks out to lives. How much person did you tell about Jesus and His goodness? Make sure
Wow.
your dash is speaking out to somebody's life. Make sure your dash is encouraging. Make sure at least one life come to Jesus through your life, because you may be the only Jesus that people see. You may be the only Jesus that they see to come to. So make sure your dash is is representing Jesus Christ, that people will come to Him. Yeah.
Wow, wow, so awesome, Bernice, and I am really just encouraged just listening to you. And I know of the many trips in exchange made to several of these schools. I've been to several schools with him and several different missions trips. And trust me, he's just always one of these guys willing. And you said one thing of all that you've said, I've heard all of it, and I'm sure it's impactful, but I've never even thought of it the way you mentioned it. You're born on this date and you have till this time based on what the Bible says, but your dash, that in between, make sure you make it count. And that's a story I want to leave with the platform tonight before you go. That little space that God has given you, because none of us knows when or how we're going to leave this life. We can plan till 70, we want to retire, we want to do some nice fancy cruise, and we want to do this, and but we just don't know when God is going to take us home. And we have to just make sure that time counts. And just before you go, the show we had on Friday, that's one of the introspective aspects of the show, with Canute Ellis, who did a song with Next Change as well, because he said, know that he has passed, it has given him this time to do some introspection. You wonder, am I doing enough? Is this my last record? Is this my last song? Is this my last piece of work? And you have to be thinking of all these things. So it's very important to make that dash, that little time that you have between the three score and 10, make it count, because you just don't know when. And it's just a pleasure having you on the show. So thank you so much, Bernice. I know this is just part one, because there's so much, because you mentioned what you went through while you were there, dead and just
Yeah.
there in the ICU. We have to go into all of that, because I'm sure that would be one of the biggest questions our viewers will want to know. What was the experience like during that time? That God has brought back to your memory. But thank you for sharing just a sneak peek of this powerful testimony with us. And as you go, God go with you, and we'll continue to encourage each other, and we continue to share the good news through these platforms. So have a great day wherever you are, and blessings to everyone in the US, everyone in the Caribbean. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. So we'll talk again soon, Bernice. Thank you so much for your time.
God bless you. All right.
All right, blessings to you. All right, so that was my special guest, a very, very good friend to Next Change, and a mother who knows him for so many years. And we're just using this show just to celebrate his life, his music, his legacy that he has left with us. And we just thought it, very good to have someone who knows him that well to be on the show and just to share her story. So you literally just saw someone on the show, or you just heard someone who died during the COVID pandemic, went through several different medical issues, came out and went back in, and was literally dead for a number of days. And God brought her back. She had to relearn everything, how to speak, just to move her head, everything. And that's just a powerful story. We have seen it on Facebook, YouTube, whatever. And sometimes I always wonder, is this really true, or is just some televangelist kind of trick to make money or anything like that? But I'm so happy that we could have her on the show. And thank you so much for sharing. Make sure that your dash, that little time period that God has given you on this earth, make sure it counts. Make sure you do something worthwhile with it. Make sure that you're making an impact. You might not be reaching thousands, but try to reach at least one. Whatever gifts, whatever ministry gifts, talents, whatever it is that God has given you to take you through this life, make sure it is counting and it is making a worthwhile sense. So thank you so much, Caribbean Christian Broadcasting. Thank you so much, Pastor G and the family. Thank you so much, Latoya, Silent, all those who are on the platform today. Thank you so much, Stacy Bless. Thank you so much, the Unfiltered by Jade. Thank you so much. Hope I'm calling the names properly, but thank you so much for being on the show, and we are grateful to have you on. Last Friday, we had a very special guest, Tracy and Brown Gray from the Turks and Caicos, and she spoke about ways that you can really deal with grief. And she talked about the various stages, the denial stage, the anger, bargaining stage, depression, and acceptance. And sometimes it takes a while to get to that acceptance stage when you have lost a loved one, a pet, whatever it is, a relationship, something that's very dear to you in life. It takes a while to get to that stage, but God is able to do all that for you. So we just heard from our good friend Bernice, and we just want to just celebrate her, celebrate the life that she's now living. Second life, a second run at life, and God is so good to her. So I'm going to be playing one more song from our brother and friend, and maybe about two more songs before we close the show today as we celebrate. This coming Friday, June 9, will be a very, very special concert in honor of our friend and brother at the Jamaica Youth for Christ. So for those of you who are in Jamaica and you can make it to 2 Acacia Avenue, that's just between Tasty and Burger King along Crossroads, Half a Tree Road, I would say. And you make that right turn and a right turn again. Jamaica Youth for Christ Auditorium is right there. So you can feel free to support all the gospel ministers that will be going there. Please support the family, be with them during this time. All those who are mourning the loss of this brother and friend, please be there and just to support. And also the final resting will be on the 15th. Really sad to announce all of that, but just to support the family. Remember the family in your prayer, and I think they need that more than all. And not just leading up to the final burial, but even years, months after, they are still gonna need it. So please just be there for them. All right, so I'm gonna be playing "Try Jesus" from our friend and brother Next Change, and trust me, as we say, make the years count. This is one of the tracks that we're going to be using to just encourage somebody as we go along this journey.
Me say me want you fi try Jesus. Me say me want you fi try Jesus. Try everything on it, so try Jesus.
Where we are joining from, thank you so much for being on the show. We're going to be having Bernice Danvers back on the show for a full interview because we need to hear all that happened while she was dead, while she was there in that ICU, being kept alive through those machines. We need to hear of the power of God. Miracles do happen in 2023, 2021, not just in the Bible days. Miracles are happening right now. And we're giving God thanks for all of that.
Let me take one of the and pass it on to the streets young way. If you have on your band, you know they'll not save. Look on your neighbor, tell them say, me say me want you to try Jesus. Me say me want you to try Jesus. You try everything on it, yes, so try Jesus. You try everything on it, yes, so try Jesus. Me say me want you to try Jesus. Me say me want you to try Jesus. You try everything on it, yes, so try Jesus. Hear me now. You try everything on it, yes, so try Jesus. You know why? Jesus, him never fail me yet. Straight on the road, and so me a take run. Satan put him on reject. I make him never Jesus side, me not left yet. Jesus, him a the light of the world. So me no need no diamonds and pearl. Every day me get up, me flip on the word and tell it to the boys and the girls. So me say me want you to try Jesus. Me say me want you to try Jesus. You try everything on it, yes, so try Jesus. You try everything on it, yes, so try Jesus.
Florida representing Christine. Thank you so much for joining, Christine.
You can try Jesus. You try everything on it, yes, so try Jesus. You try everything on it, yes, so try Jesus. This is something me want you to try it. This is something me want you to try it. Run with it and tell it bye-bye. Hear me now. This is something me want you to try it. This is something me want you to try it. Run with it and tell it bye-bye. Hear me now. Me say me want you to try Jesus.
So if you've never tried him, this is a song that we're using, and it's good that these songs are left on record. Years and years to come, these songs will still live on, encouraging you to try Jesus. You may have tried several other methods, several other people in life, and they have failed you. So my encouragement to you, try Jesus. We're going to be taking one more time from the top.
You're tuned into the awesome music show with Dale T. You don't know. Hey, you're tuned into the awesome music show. This is your boy O'Neal Campbell endorsing Dale T's awesome music show. Keep it locked.
All right, one more track from Next Change. Jesus Great. One more time. Going to be dropping about 2 more tracks before we go off the show today. This is not our usual time, but thank you so much for joining. Wherever you're joining from, we're appreciative of your presence on the show.
Come and tell you how me Jesus great. Come and tell you how me Jesus great. Come and tell you how me Jesus great.
Remember to support Caribbean Christian Broadcasting. You can find them on YouTube. You can find them on Facebook. Pastor G and the family. Really great shows.
So great.
Thank you so much for the endorsement as well, Pastor G.
5 loaf for bird. When the check a stock 5,000 got fed. Him sell Lazarus rise and him resurrected. Show Moses he make the Red Sea parted. Yeah. Him heal all the deaf and the blind. Chase all the demons them in the swine. Him come and save all mankind. All of them use sword and joke him in inside. Come let me tell you how me Jesus great. Come let me tell you how me Jesus great. Come let me tell you.
We just talked about the greatness of God.
Jesus great.
He can raise Lazarus in the Bible days.
Jesus
certainly raised our friend Bernice Danvers. She's a living testimony.
Jesus, him are the ultimate prize. Him alone take all the tear from the eyes. No man to the Father but through Jesus Christ. That's why me have
all the persons in UAE, thank you so much for always supporting the Awesome Music Show. Thank you so much.
In my life, him have control. Come listen to the story while it unfolds. Come and make me tell me Jesus great. 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 Say me Jesus is so great. I say me Jesus great. Say me Jesus is so great. I say me Jesus great.
One more track from the man called Next Change. One more track from the Man Connect says Jesus. And we're just bigging up the name of Jesus on the show. If we could hear a live testimony from someone who died literally, was just being held up by some machines, had to relearn every single thing, then we can always shout the name of Jesus. There's power in the name of Jesus. Wherever you are, there is power in the name of Jesus.
Jesus, every day me have to call your name. Jesus, worship Satan, me no play that game. Me and Jesus step on a one-way lane. Now go sign a contract in a blood. That's why
Stacy Bless, Jesus Child, every single person on the live. Thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate it.
Every day me talk up on the word of God because you don't know say that is good for the brain. Jesus, every day me have to call your name. Jesus, represent you cause me no shame. Jesus, every day me have to call your name. Jesus. Everybody show Jesus, Jesus. Everybody show Jesus name. Everybody show Jesus, Jesus. Everybody come give him the praise. Oh Jesus, me talk a lot. Some things when for me I can't forget. That's why me have to praise him every season. I inspire my life for so many reasons. Jesus, every day me have to call your name. Jesus represents.
So it doesn't matter what you're going through, that's what you need to do. The only name you need is the name of Jesus. Call on the name of Jesus anytime, any morning, any day, anytime. Lovely, lovely music coming from the friend and brother Next Change. One more track before we go off the show today, this Monday, June 5. Before you know it, the year is ended and we're over into 2024. Let's give God thanks for every single day that we are alive. Every single day. I know there's trying times. So many things are happening around the world. So many things are happening in Jamaica and the US. But we still have to give God thanks for giving us this time to celebrate life.
Every day me have to call your name. Represent you cause me no shame. Every day me have to call your name. Jesus.
So we just have one more track to play before we go off the show today. And I want every single person who are on just to remember the family of Next Change. And if you have lost a loved one and you are hurting from the loss of your loved one, it could be years, because I know several persons who have lost loved one. It could be a brother, sister, a friend, an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent. It doesn't matter, but you still suffer that loss even years after. And we know just how that feels. So just be strong. Just keep a positive energy around you and try to keep the good memories of the person. Not saying we're trying to say, hey, he was a perfect guy, because none of us are perfect, but he lived a life that was well tried. And we just want to celebrate his life, his music, his legacy. To his family who are hurting, we just want you to know that God is with you. He will give you the comfort. When we run out of words, He is going to be that person, that God who is going to be comforting you through this difficult time. So we're just going to be using this last track, Next Change featuring Kanye with Ellis, Blessed. And this is a song that we're going to be leaving you with on the show until we meet this coming Friday. Please remember, this coming Friday, June 9, will be a face-to-face concert at the Jamaica Youth for Christ Auditorium to celebrate the life and legacy of Next Change. So please, all the gospel artists who can support, please be a part of this show and just support the show and be of support to the family and those in the musical fraternity mourning this loss. So as we go from the show, my name is DLT. This is the song that we're going to be taking you out with from the show. It's called Blessed. And see you on Friday for our upcoming show. And also, we're going to be having a very special show for Father's Day, and we want you to be a part of that. We're going to be sharing the details in our social media pages. So if you can sing, if you can write, if you can do something special for your dad, this is going to be the show for you to participate. And guess what? There will be prizes as well for this show. So as we go from the show, this is something that we're going to be taking you out with. So as usual, it's another awesome day given to us by an awesome God to do some awesome things. Be blessed as we go from this show today. Take care. My name is DLT. See you soon on another show this coming Friday. Be blessed. Take care.
Wake up in the morning, open up my eyes. I say thank you, Jah.
Those of you joining from the Facebook page, thank you so much for joining as well.
Wake up in the morning,
Instagram, YouTube, thank you so much for joining and for being a part of the show.
say thank you, Jah.
We appreciate your support every single time we go live. Thank you so much.
I am blessed.
And also look forward to the part 2 of Bernice Danvers' story, testimony,
I know I'm blessed.
how God brought her back to life.
I am blessed.
Too blessed to be stressed. We're talking about the blessings and the goodness of God as we go from the show.
Yesterday me wake up mountain look tall, but me pray to Father God the blessings start fall. All of a sudden me giant look small, and me pray to Father God because me know it not start. Birds in the midst of the storm, you want me comfort, you keep me calm. Don't come with the negative vibes before that knock up and go on.
Also, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Click on that notification bell so that you can get all the notifications. My wife keeps reminding me that deal, you're not asking people to subscribe. Sometimes you get so caught up in the show you don't even remember, but please subscribe to the show. Subscribe to the channel so that we can spread the love, we can spread the blessings. And when you click that notification bell, every time we go live, you'll get the notifications. Thank you so much for your surprise, your support.
Be blessed, no time to go stress. Be blessed, be blessed,
I
be
know
blessed.
I'm blessed. I am blessed. Too blessed to be.
Count your blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. That's a very, very old song, but guess what? Never grows old. Too blessed to be stressed. You might have problems, but guess what? Put a smile in your face and walk out in your blessings. Because God is a good God. Just about 42 seconds left of this song, but guess what? God is a good God. Bless. Next Change featuring Canute Ellis. Share these songs with your family and your friends. Let the legacy and the music live on. My name is DLT. Take care as we go for the show. Another awesome day given to us by an awesome God. Do some awesome things. Take care. Be blessed.
I know I'm blessed.